Here's the truth about fractional shares versus whole shares and what they're not telling you as a beginner investor. Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm Royal. Welcome to Royal's Mindset, where I'm documenting my journey as a Forex trader and investor. And in this video, we're going to dive deep into fractional shares versus whole shares and everything you need to know. Hit that like button and let's jump right into it. So I'm honestly not a huge fan of fractional shares, but there is a place for it for beginner investors. So one pro is that it helps remove the fear. When you get into buying stocks, you have fear about losing money. But if you start with fractional shares, this eliminates that excuse of putting money into the market. Even $20, $15 here and there, $10, right? Can help you develop the stomach of watching prices go up and down. And a con of using fractional shares is you have less compounding time in the market, because when you buy whole shares, you have a whole share of a company actually working for you. But when you buy a fractional share, which means you're only buying a piece of the pie, which is mean you're only going to make a piece of profit. And in the beginning of your investing journey, this might be okay, but long term, it will affect your growth. And the second pro for buying fractional shares is that you can start investing with very, very little money. Even $5, right? You can do $5 a week from your paycheck, automatically buying real ownership from real companies that create real products. And on the other side of that is you're not owning a full share of a company. So it's like just owning a piece of a business or a piece of a piece, depending on if you're buying ETFs. If you're serious about investing, you definitely want to join our free investing community on Blossom. It is a downloadable app. It's like Instagram, but better because it's only for investors. It is a complete community of over 500,000 investors all across the world. You can get your questions answered. You can see everything that people are investing in. So if you want to see my full portfolio, then make sure you click in the link in the description and download Blossom today. And the third pro of buying fractional shares over whole shares is that even with fractional shares, it helps you build the habit of building wealth without huge risk. Because the most important part of investing is time in the market, years in the market, right? As time goes by, the market's fluctuating, your profits is growing, you're obtaining those gains in price gains and dividends, but it builds the habit of building wealth. And a con with buying fractional shares over whole shares is that you could possibly build comfort in playing small. You don't want to play small when it comes to building wealth. You got to be all in. All right. Now, I understand if you're a beginner and you want to test the waters, fractional shares are perfectly okay. Maybe even for the first 6 months, as you see this thing starts to work, as you see your money start to grow, that's when you want to start building confidence and putting more money into the market, because this is the wealth vehicle that can build wealth. So the number 4 pro of fractional shares is that dollar cost averaging could absolutely work in your favor. Like I said, even $10 a week could absolutely slowly compound into something huge at the end of a year or even at the end of 6 months. And the con of only doing fractional shares versus whole shares is you're never building serious positions. You're not building huge positions to where you're buying actual ownership and you're going down deep, making a significant difference in your investing portfolio. It's like being in a kiddie pool. You may be splashing around, but you're not going to be able to swim, but you'll never experience the full water depth as if you're in a pool or an ocean. And let's continue with number 5, pros and cons. And a pro for buying whole shares over fractional shares is that it's easier to exit positions. When you want to sell fractional shares, you can only do that during market hours. It's much easier to get out of your positions when you have full shares. And a con with fractional shares is that there's limited transferability. If you wanted to switch brokers, most brokers do not accept fractional shares. You would have to sell all your fractional shares and then switch brokers from like Webull to Robinhood. You would have to sell all your fractional shares from Webull before you transfer your account to Robinhood or vice versa or any other broker. And the very last one I want to touch on is full dividend payments. Now, when you buy whole shares, you're getting full dividend payments. You're buying a full share, so you'll get that full dividend. But if you buy a fractional share, then you're going to get that fractional dividend, and you're not going to be earning as much as you could. Sometimes the dividends can be rounded down because you're dealing with fractions. So they're going to give you a fraction of what you could be earning, and some brokers may round down instead of rounding up because you're not buying a full share. So these are all things that I want you to consider when it comes to fractional shares versus whole shares. I don't really recommend fractional shares, but if you're brand spanking new and you're terrified of a 300-year-old stock market, because the stock market is ancient, if you're scared of the stock market, definitely get started with fractional shares. It is better to start building wealth with fractional shares than not getting started at all. I hope you found this video helpful. Hit that like button. If you want to copy my stocks or see my portfolio, download the Blossom app. And if you found this video helpful, subscribe and stick around for this next video.